Okay, where we got to is we're really well, let's see how this goes. We're on page Resh Test Zion. We're going to read past number Yud Gimel, number Gimel, and let me see if we can how well I can see this. We're ending at what time?
6:06.
Okay. Godless there Anpin. So he says now we're going to talk about the godless state of godless of Zer Anpin. Besod Kabbalah's Mochin the Mekifim Shal Abba Ve'ima. He's going to talk about Mochin Mekifim, and it's hard to see how exactly they work. Let's look down below at number Dalet. This so we get some hints before we get into it anymore. Number Dalet says Rei B'Ha'aros the Eilsh in this bar Be'etz Chaim. What does it say over there? It's in Sharkov Tess. Mohin the Mekifim Elu Nimshachem Begodless the Zer Anpen. Okay, so let's say that the godless is in the Tad Tzalim goes into Zer Anpen, and I guess they're all traveling together. So you have these two Mekifim. V'Eden Mamshicha Begodless the Zer Anpen Kashuhu Bebechidas Yud Gimel V'Yom Echad Ein Sham, and that's the big idea right there. Zohar V'Chaylecha B'Shah Sheboilecha B'Parts of the Nukva. When the parts of the nukva is built, Shehu Gam came B'Yud Gimel Shanim V'Yom Echad. A couple of things I notice is he calls the nukva by the name Shehu, which is male. So at any rate, I guess he says it's the parts of. It's modifying the word parts of. Shebonit parts of nukva Shehem Gam came B'Yud Gimel Shanim V'Yom Echad. Okay, I'm not sure that I thought that I thought was 12 years in a day. That's for a bas mitzvah, but over here he says the nukva also comes at 13. So this seems to be an idea once a second. Now, Sham, so look over there in the Eitz Chaim. That's in Shar Lamed Daled, he says. Let's go on from number Daled up above and read all over to number Hey. He said, Avira Nafik. So when that happens, then an Avir comes out. Ki Oz Yotzach Benetzach Ahod Yisod, and from the Nai, the Abba, Bechinas, Makifing the Mochin, the Abba. So let's see how he ties this together. Trying to understand what these Mochin do. Ki Oz Yotzach Benetzach, from the Nai, the Abba. So the Nai, the Abba, where? I know the Yisod, the Abba goes all the way down into the Yisod of Zer Anpin. He's heard about the Hod as well, the Netzach and the Hod as well. Bechidin Makifim, the Mochin, the Abba. Now, how do they become Makifim? So that's what he says. Shashar Shech Bebechinas Chesed Elyon and Nikra Ravira. The Nitzutzach is Damen Kamo came, and at the same time there are sparks that are prepared. Of a Kamo Kain is Damen V'yotza Menetzav Hod Yisod from the Nai, the Ima. Bechinas Makifim, the Mochin, the Ima. So I'm not sure exactly where that went to, but we have Mochim of the Kifin, the Abba, and Ima Shrasham Bebechinas Gevura, that the root is from the concept of Gevura Elyon. That's I guess he's talking about the Mochin, the Ima, the Makifin, the Ima, Bebechinas Gevura Elyon, Nikba Nitzutza, the Heinach Botzina, the Gardenusa. So he wants to say the word Botzina. Which I get translation is normally means lamp, which is not very, I don't know, it's very generic name or a general name. He says the nitzutza, the butzina, the kardanitzo nusa is a concept of sparks, which is lashon den. In regards to that, the sakim bebechinas a golta. Now that's the part that we want to know. It says that these two sets of abba ve'ima dik makifim, and from the makifim, they're misakin the Golgolta shel Zeranpin. Kamo she is bar behemshech. We're going to get into that. How is it that the Makifim are able to work on the Golgolta, the Zeranpin? Let's go down to the bottom, the right-hand column, where we pick up this letter Hey, which has some arichos to it. Let's see if what we can do with it. Let me try this. There we go. So it says, V'hinecha k'ayin loshen shelafanenu, avira nafek, so that's the phrase that we're working on. Chad gul golta ispeshat besitroi. Now, we've had this word citroi before, but let's say it means like it's from its side. I'm not sure exactly what it means because he said there's possibly, I think we've seen other places that is possibly maybe a Taus Sofrim or something, but that citroi may mean something else, but I don't remember what they are. You go to the Metzinu Gam Be'idra Rabba, we also see over there Bedilug, Nafek Avira Dachya. So what's that? V'nachiv Chad Gugolta, and then comes out one skull. Ubahai Avira Dachya Ishtoiv Nitzutza, and from that Avira Dachya, it also draws this spark. Spark, he said before, was the Botzina Dakar Danilsa. Begin Kach High Gulgulta is Pashat Besitra, and because of this, that causes the Gulgulta to grow, I guess. Ein Sham Ba'orach Be'inyan is V'cha'inyan is B'charichus Be'etz Chaim. He said V'chanogea Inyanenu. So what's relevant over here? Ki Mocha Nagadlis Zer Anpen. When we're talking about the Mocha Nagadlis Zer Anpen, Miluvashach Benai, the Abba Ve'ima, which are in both of those, and they're nigh. B'kolnika Nisas V'sechu Rosh Zer Anpen Misnotzes Orem Luchutz. So their light sparks outward. Besod Or Makif, which is the secret of the Or Makif. Vuha Nikbrach Be'etz Chaim Sham over there B'Shem B'Bechinis Revis. So I don't remember that. That is in Sharkov Dalit, apparently, Omad Aleph. He said, Vizel the Shon the Bechina Dalit. So it's calling it Bechina Dalit. So that's what he says. Ki Gam Misnotzes Oram Mibechutz, that their sparks out, their light sparks out outwards, not just inside like the Tzadik Tzalim. I'm not sure exactly how I understand this, because it sounds like when it says it sparks out, makes me think that it was in. So I'm not sure what it is that true, possibly of the Lamed Tzalim. Misnotzes Oram Mibechutz shall nigh the Ima. It's outside now of the nigh of Ima, but so or Makif, and it becomes a Makif. V'da ki or makiv zechabehu iker metzias or hamakiv atzman zer anpen. So this makiv that we're talking about, so coming from Abba Ve'ima, is the iker makiv of zer anpen. Meir b'chol b'sham melamala b'hi yosef sham b'chutz l'nai, and it's able to do that. It's shining on zer anpen because it's outside of the nai, the ima. Makif, the Inyan Lazer Anpen, it becomes a Makif. Ad Kan. So that's a quote from the Eitz Chaim, he says. V'kol zecha v'chugam b'nai, the Abba, also the same idea. V'chamochim halalucha nekroim aviridakia v'nitzutza. So it says that again, al shem sharsham elyon b'chesed the gevur de Erik Anpen. That's why we had these two names. So he says, now we know that the tzutza really refers to a concept of a sparking of some sort. So from the power of these mochim mekifim, tikkun gugolta the zer anpin. It's not saying at this part how that does that. He just, but that this is what actually forms up the skull of zer anpin, which became a big receptacle. I thought that what happens here is that the tzadi that Tzalim goes into zer anpin, and the makifim, let's say they come at the same time. Over here, he says that the kli, which is going to be makabel, the mochin, which is the gogolta, which we're going to learn about. I see that later on. He's going to get into that more. He says that tikun gogolta the zer anpin, but it also besakin the gogolta as the great kli. HaMavura b'hemshech ha-SIFRA Titziniutakan is going to go on. Gulgulta is Pasha B'Sitroi. That phrase. Sitroi bothers me a little bit, what he actually wants to say there. But we'll go on. Let's say. So let's say, Rei Be'etz Chaim, look over there in the Eitz Chaim. He says, where is Shaf Kof Tes, Perek Zion, Kof Dalet, Amad Bet. B'Sel L'Shona B'Dilum. Da ki butzin de dekar denusa v'hainu the nitzutza. So now he says the definition. It's interesting that the kardanusa is nitzutza. Kedeisa behidra rabba sham. I don't recall it. He says va'apik mebutzim afik mebutzim the kardanusa had nitzutza ad kan, one spark. Just one. V'chein kukash b'shar maimari rashbekan. He also said the shana v'nitzutza is damin. So that is prepared. He said, what does that mean? Pirush nitzutza butzin the kardanusa ad kan. V'hu gevura de Eric Anpen, and this is really referring to the gevura of Eric Anpen, v'Ravi this concept of the Ravi Radakya, who chesed de Eric Anpen is the chesed of Eric Anpen. Vela bebes this chavru. They come together, Yachad Kenitzkar Be'idrezuta, Daf Reich Sadi Beis, Amad Beis, Yisera Va'inyan Ki Abacha Ve'ibacha Bechem Sharsham, at their root, Chachbara Bebina, Bechem Negnazim Chesed the Gevura, and inside of Abba Ima, and Ima you have Chesed the Gevura hidden to Eric Anpen. Hanikra Ravira Dakya, Ubotzine the Kardanusa. So that's just one word. He says the Chesed, the Gevur. Okay, so they're also called by those names. So he said, "In his Chavra Yaakov, Ela Butzine the Kardanusa for Ravira Dakya." They make a yichud. I don't know. They come together. He says, "What in what way?" Dakya bihi Yosim Gnuzim Toch Abba Ve'ima v'Hotzia Gulta the Zer Anpin. So. It's just like I would say that if you're going to be mitzlavish, you need something to be mitzlavish in. But he says it the other way around. He says v'avadakya b'hiyosa genuzim, when they're inside of their anpen, v'hotzil gugolta the zer anpen, they cause the gugolta the zer anpen to develop. Okay, v'hinech this boy so it's also the kilo. He said at the beginning. They're originally inside of Abba Nima. We know that they're carrying his mochin. Besod Panimi or Makiv, and the secret of one is going to be a Panimi. Once again, he's really throwing me off. I thought they were both working together inside of to develop the. I'll read it again. He said, "V'hinech this boy la'el ki techila b'choya b'chilas hamochin dezer anpin toch abba v'ima b'sod pnimi u'makif." They were inside all of them. That is the tzadi tetzalim. As I saying, is he saying this? And the makifim were also what's it? B'sod. He says they are toch inside of abba v'ima. He says the mochin are inside of abba v'ima or b'sod pnimi u'makif. The nimsa koda hiskil bechinas gulgolta, before the aspect of the golta begins, elzer anpen atzmo hikdim alecha bechinas hamochim makifim elyonim. So the mochim come first. That is the makifim. Behinach kamosha chased the gevura the Eric anpen nikra chaviv redakya chabotzin at the gardenusa. Kain ha-mochim the chochma b'bina dezer anpin. So also the mochim will chochma b'bina dezer anpin. Hayotze bechem, which comes out for them. Nikroim kach. What are they called? They're calling the chochma bina. I'm not sure what we got here. Nimsa. Kim the chidach biyotzu elach hamuchim and nikra b'vira dakyo b'utzin at the gardenisa b'sod makifin. They come out originally makifin. Now he said they were inside. I thought that's what he said. That is the botzin at the Kartanusa and the Zavira Dakya. He said, "V'achar kach na'asa gulgolta the zer anpen," and then after that, they're going to make the gulgolta the zer anpen. Now, it's a little vague to me how they do that, but they're not talking about how they do that. V'zera v'sod mash ambecha be'idra rabba daf kufla lamed hey amad aleph v'zera v'nafika v'vir dakya. V'nafik chad gulgolta, and then comes out a gulgolta. Ki the chidach of v'nafka v'na'asach hamochem and nikra of v'yiradakya in bootsina together with the bootsina. So that's the further is kalo be kamosh amasham, like it says over there. Now, what is he saying? I'm not 100% sure. Is he saying they were inside of their anpen, they came out, or what is it? He says aviradakya in bootsina is kalo be, they become a part of their anpen amasham. That's what it says over there. So let's go on. He said, "V'achar kach na'asach v'navek mekochem chad gulgolta." Then after that, one skull comes out. Hanaasa Hanaasa Acher Hamochim Elo HaMakifim Elyonim. So this is the order is that first you have the Makifim, and exactly how the Makifim work over here is not clear. Not stated, I think. Elo Mekivim Elyonim Ad Kan Divrei Eitz Chaim Sham V'Ayin Sham. Oh, there's more over there. V'Kain Ray V'Sharma Mari Rashbi over the Ayin Sham. So he gives a site reference. V'Hina Rapapi V'Zecha Nizboyer Kan B'Fnim B'Ponim let's see B'Kan Bifnim Maimer HaSifra D'Tzniuta Kan. So let's see that Avira Nafek V'Nitzutza is Damen. So that's the particular phrase that they're using over here. So he says V'Chad Golda is Pasha B'Sitroi. Now let's try to get this worked out. He says the Eine the Mochin the Bekifim, and now that's how the Golgolta is Mispashe. Shemisham Nafik Had Gulgolta, because from that place of the Makifim, and what's he telling me? He said the Gulgolta is like a Makif for everything that's inside of it. Not sure what he's trying to say. He said from the Makifim, therefore, this is where we get the Gulgolta. But I'm not moving, so it's understood like this. Also the upper roots, the most high roots, Shagorman Yitzias Mochin the Mekivim, which is what causes the Mekivim, and his word is Yitzias Mochin. So the going out of these Mochin. Now, I was thinking that it meant going out the Mochin, that they were inside that went out. I'm thinking now he means they're inside of Abba Ve'ima, and they come out from Abba Ve'ima. I'm thinking that now. So Nimshachas Chesed V'Vor the Erik Anpin LaAbba Ve'ima Chanal V'Kain Hazivug Abba Ve'ima. Also now, this yichud that's going to take place between Abba Ve'ima the Chamshik Mochem Ela, which ultimately causes that to happen. So V'Kain Rei B'Yov look over there Shabir the Ire Kan Be'ina Hamshachas Chesed V'Vor the Erik Anpin LaAbba Ve'ima Chanal. So Kumokain, and like similar like that Rei B'Bir HaGroa. What the Gross says, the Hadras Melech over there should be Arno the Einrecha Bekan Be'inyan Zivug Abba Be'ima the Hamshech HaMochem Anal Ein Sham Rei Be'or Be'otzer Be'rurim Kan. So look over there in the Otzer Be'rurim. Well, we'll have time here in this little bit of time to look at the Otzer Be'rurim back on page Tov Shin Yud Zayin. Now, page Tov Shin Yud Zayin. At the very top, it quotes a part. Let me see, just look at the other side now. It quotes the part of the pasuk that we're beneath. Totze ha'aretz deshe. Question is, what is deshe? We talked about that, but we gave a definition. It referred to zohar v'nuk, or what is it? Zeranpin in the basia labar, if it's in the embryonic stage. Avira nafek minitzutzer is damen, so that comes out, and then he has, when it comes to the nitzutza, he doesn't use nafek, he uses the word is damen. So what's the difference? So he said, v'totze ha'aretz desher, number aleph, that's the first thing we'll discuss. Number base is going to be a masai kad shema is nata, so when the name is planted. Avira nafek of a nitzutza is damen. So this avira goes out, which is chesed, and the nitzutza is ready. Again, I'm not sure what he means by the istamen. And that's the shir here today. Tomorrow, with God's help, and the next time we learn this, we will be going into the different biurim of different rabbis. Kol tov.